Hey everyone, welcome to Taste Different Gaming Appetizers. And what are we talking about this time? Xbox had a podcast to talk about the business, a business update. Because the whole thing on the internet's been going around. Xbox is going multi-platform. They're getting out of the console space. And Phil said, "Don't you worry, we have a podcast that we're going to put out, and it'll cover all the bases." And did it cover all the bases? Well, it did. I mean, it covered what you were wanting to know. Was it worth watching? Not really. But we'll go over what was talked about. So 4 games are going multi-platform. Phil Spencer didn't say what 4 games are going multi-platform, but 4 games are. He said, "We made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to other consoles. Just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy." He also said, "We're making these decisions for specific reasons. We make every decision with the long-term health of Xbox in mind, and long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, and reaching as many players as we can." So there you go. We don't know. He said that, he's going to let those developers kind of come out with what games are going multi-platform from the rumors that are out there. As far as what we know so far, the 4 games that are suspected are Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and something else that I totally forgot. I can't remember what the other one was, but there is another one. Probably one that doesn't matter. But one other one, and it's one of the lower games that, it was kind of the sneak releases. Pentiment it was talked about, but it was, it was an all right game. We reviewed it. Hi-Fi Rush was a surprise hit, but that makes sense to kind of throw it out there because it doesn't seem like a big title. Sea of Thieves makes sense because it is a live service game. So the thing about live service games is you want as many players as possible in those types of scenarios. So it makes sense to put that out there to the ether. And, whatever the 4th game was that I'm totally just I'll remember it. I'll look it up or something. But whatever game that was, that one probably makes sense too. I don't know. It might. But anywho, he did confirm that Starfield and Indiana Jones: The Great Circle are not included in those games. So those are not going multi-platform. It was suspected. A lot of people on the internets were going nuts saying that those games were going to go multi-platform, but they are not. He also said Game Pass is not coming to PlayStation 5 or Switch, which, I mean, I think that makes sense. I don't think Sony would probably allow Game Pass on their console, and Switch probably wouldn't either. So that makes sense. But they said, Matt Booty said, "I think that we are a first party, can come back to some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, that all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will be available only on Xbox." So basically, what he's just saying there is, Game Pass is going to be an Xbox thing. It's not going to be spread out among other devices, other consoles and stuff. Maybe devices, but not console manufacturers. They also did say with Game Pass that Diablo 4, so the Activision Blizzard stuff, since they got Activision Blizzard, when are those games coming? Well, the first one is Diablo 4, which is coming to Game Pass on March 28th. Good for it. Spencer wants Xbox to last for the next 20 years. So people were worried that Xbox was going to go away, but Phil Spencer said many people know that I've been at Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure that Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. He said, he continued with, "Our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience someone has on an Xbox is hardware that our team builds and the people play on." So that's their commitment to clearly, what it sounds like, to continue making hardware, right? He did address the Xbox, the layoffs, just talking about, hate to make those decisions, but it's necessary type thing. The corporate jargon that we always hear when that type of stuff happens. Xbox is seeing all-time high user counts. So they say we're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, and the highest levels of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. That's what Sarah Bond said. Xbox is working on a next-gen platform. Bond also mentioned that Xbox and Microsoft are not leaving the hardware space. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next gen roadmap, Bond said. What we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technological leap you have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the vision they're building. So who knows what that means? That's a really interesting thing. I mean, again, that could just be corporate jargon, but if she's really saying the largest technological leap from the current Xbox series, what does that mean? And, maybe when we go around here, maybe you guys have some insight on what you think that means as far as, of course, we don't know what that means from them, but, maybe your ideas or what you might think they're trying to do with the next Xbox. They also talked about game compatibility being important. So Phil talked about how the backwards compatibility thing that they did back on the Xbox One, and basically want to maintain that as Xbox goes forward to be able to play your old stuff on newer consoles, right? To kind of maintain that, and kind of the difficulty of doing that, but also trying to find solutions either through cloud or various other options to maintain that aspect, right? And investing in that moving forward. He said that more than 10 Xbox first-party releases are coming to 2024. We already know that. There's a lot of Xbox games coming out this year. This is a big year for Xbox. They have a lot of games coming out. Senua's Saga, Hellblade, Avowed, the Indiana Jones game, the new Diablo 4 expansion, so on and so forth. There's a lot of big hits coming out this year for 2024 for Xbox, which is good because Xbox is not seeing anything big in quite some time. So it's nice that the flood of games that have been built up are finally releasing. And this June, they talked about how Xbox is going to have a showcase, which we all would assume was going to happen, right? This is the non-E3 E3 showcase, right? It's not E3 anymore, but it's the Xbox showcase is going to come out in June. And as we get further with that, there'll be more information regarding the June showcase, what they'll talk about with all that stuff. But that was basically what the podcast was. It really was just a way to reassure people from all the rumors and everything out there that what they're hearing is, one aspect is true, that some of their games are going multi-platform, 4 of them specifically. But that basically, as far as everything else is concerned, Microsoft is not getting out of the hardware market. They're determined and dedicated to continue their hardware push and make consoles and, continue the console wars. The console wars are not over, everybody. You can rest easy now. They're going to continue strong. Xbox and Sony will continue to butt heads in the console space. So, grab your pitchforks and your torches and get on the internet and start flaming the other side. But let's go around and see what everybody thinks of this. Pat, what do you think of this, buddy? What do you think of all that? And, the large technological leap, what do you think that means for Xbox?
I can tell you it means suck my dick, Bobby Kotick, because Diablo 4 is on Game Pass, which you said it wasn't going to be for a very long time, or as long as you were around. And guess what? You're gone, and it's the first damn game coming. I say that was a fist right up his rear end from Microsoft that says you don't get to call the shots anymore.
Sorry, Pat's usually the one who holds back the profanity more than anybody. So this was joyful.
I hate Bobby Kotick so bad.
This was joyful.
I hate Bobby Kotick so bad, and this was like pouring salt in the wound and just like digging it in. And I'm like, that's such a I'm the boss now move, and I love it. So, I mean, I was happy to hear that, and I laughed. As soon as I heard that, I laughed. The very first Activision Blizzard game going to Game Pass was the one that Bobby was like, nah, it ain't going to Game Pass. It's not going to be there for as long as I'm around, or as long as I can help it, And guess what? you didn't get to help it. They booted your ass out, and then now this. So I thought that was hilarious. So that's the funny thing. I don't know. This whole podcast was a whole lot of nothing. And what I did learn from this podcast was Xbox has an official podcast, because I had no clue. So I didn't know they had an official podcast. So, as Nick said, the console wars are still going on. So get out your torches and pitchforks and do what you normally do, because you're going to do it anyway. So, I don't know. And I can't believe you forgot one of our very favorite games to play, Grounded. It was supposed to be in that grouping.
That is it. Yes, Grounded, which again, I mean, I don't know, that one, it's whatever, but Grounded's a great game. So, hey, if more people get to experience it, then I'm all about it, because I think Grounded's a really good game.
And that too is a live service game, so it would be on the sense side of it.
So, and then Microsoft planning to release 10 first-party games, they better be releasing a crap ton of first-party games after going through spending spree after spending spree. But it is kind of rubbing salt into the Sony wound after their announcement, right? 0 and 10, but they won't be Xbox only, right? They'll be on the Xbox and PC. So Microsoft really doesn't try to put anything out on Xbox that they don't put out on PC also. So I kind of, to hear it's like it's single console, so it's not all consoles, but I guess you can call it an exclusive if you want, but I don't think it's an exclusive. If you put something out on console and PC, it's not an exclusive in my opinion, but that's my opinion. I don't know about the whole, every year it's the same, right? This is the most powerful console we've ever built. It's the same thing. It's like the car salesman. That's what I think it means. It's the car salesman out there going, this is the best version we've ever made. We went from 14 miles a gallon to 15 this year, and you lost 100 horsepower, but they don't tell you that, right? It's the best version that's ever been made. But it is what it is. I mean, they're currently working, we chatted about it last week, where, they're in talks with NVIDIA and Intel to do some stuff. And I mean, my personal opinion is I prefer the NVIDIA and Intel's hardware anyway. It has been that way for me for a while, and I do think that they have better offerings. AMD has always just been the bulk cheap discount that Sony and Microsoft could get into, because that's what they do. They discount shop it, right? And now, if they may be working and going to the the Intel side and then the NVIDIA side, so we'll see a difference in specifications then technically. What do I feel? I feel that they're going to smack us all in the face with diskless hardware. And I just feel that's where everybody's going to force the next gen. Maybe not the mid-gen, because they are still, the mid-gen we know is supposedly diskless, that they're talking about putting out the little freaking, so that to me, I don't know what they mean by all this. And Microsoft's like, compatibility is important, then why'd you kill off the compatibility program? They killed off the whole backwards compatibility of any new games and anything like that. So if it's important, why'd you kill it? In my opinion. I don't know, man. I don't think of compatibility as maintaining my saves and crap like that. I'm like, whatever. On PC for years, if you wiped your drive and didn't back up your saves, you were hosed. So what? You reset your Xbox, you lost your saves. I mean, to some people that's detrimental, but at the same time, I'm one of these people that if I've been away from a game for a year or two, I'm going to start over anyway, because I don't remember how to play this damn thing properly. So I want to start over with the tutorial and everything. I'm also not a DLC player, so that stuff doesn't really affect me. I don't want to come back in and jump in at the end of and grab the DLC. I don't generally do DLC. So to me, whoop-de-doo on that part. I think that actions speak louder than words, and so far their backwards compatibility is they killed the program. They're not putting any new games in, and they did what they did, and they did a good job. It's just they stopped doing it, so they're not moving forward with that anymore. We'll see what happens with Xbox 960 or whatever the next version is going to be coming out, right? So there was, to me, the podcast was a bunch of do about nothing. We're going to take 4 games The only thing that came out of that was Xbox is not dead. They came out and be like, I'm not dead yet. Don't take me away. You know, they weren't rushing them off to put them in the mass grave with all the other ones out there. They were just like, we're not dead yet. We're still making consoles. We're still going to do this. We're still going to do that. So, and 4 games, I saw rumors that Microsoft is putting no more console exclusives we're getting out of the hardware business. And there was all we could do to just not talk about it last week. Cause I was like, let's just wait to see what they say. Cause all this is a bunch of BS, and it ended up being a bunch of BS. It was just somebody let a little bit of blood in the water and all the shark frenzy went crazy. Right. There was nothing in the water. And then somebody gave themselves a paper cut, and then the water filled with blood. Water had a little drop of the blood, and then all the sharks came out everywhere. So, but there was a lot of rumors going around last week. It was quite entertaining. And then just to see this, you get 4 games, and you get 4 of our older games, which, you know, they're good. Some of that stuff was good, right? Like Pentiment to me was just okay. Hi-Fi Rush was good. Grounded was good. Sea of Thieves was good. We enjoyed those. But Grounded and Sea of Thieves is kind of like Sea of Thieves is a live service game. Grounded kind of feels that way, but because they keep just adding stuff to it, and and I think it's finally released, right? Grounded is no longer in early access, or it was in early access for freaking ever and just came out recently last year, I think. So, but Hi-Fi Rush was good. Pentiment to me was just meh. It was okay, but so it's not like they even released, the biggest rumor was I saw from a lot of the Sony fanboys, especially after they railed on the game, was Starfield's coming to PlayStation. I was like, okay, if it does, cool. But it didn't. It wasn't one of their lists. I'm surprised at that one, to be honest with you, because it didn't sell as well as Microsoft was hoping. So they could have gotten a larger chunk of money by putting it out over on the PlayStation. But they didn't. So Microsoft can make money if they pushed Game Pass to other solutions. And I'm waiting for them to reach out to Netflix or Sony or LG or Samsung and be like, we'll put an app on your TV so people can play streaming games on your TV. I'm waiting for that day. And I kind of thought maybe that might be some of what was going to happen, but Sony would probably never allow Game Pass on their console, right? They would be like, we don't want anything that smells like Microsoft near our console.
Yeah. But I believe they were working on something with Samsung for that as a streaming option.
I thought that was a rumor, but I thought maybe they were finally going to come out and say it.
No, I'm pretty sure that was, I can't remember if that was an official thing or not, but honestly, it's been a while since I've heard about it. So maybe they can do it.
Well, we also got the official that we were supposed to be getting Game Pass Family Plan, and that never happened. They even rolled it out in a test market, and then now it's like, hey guys, where's my Game Pass Family Plan? I think they found out that they're losing too much money on everything, and they're like, we can't do this because instead of us losing money on 2 people sharing stuff, which you can't really share Game Pass right now, so it is what it is at that front. So to me, I'm like, it's a much ado about nothing podcast, except for just saying we have 4 games. That's all the rumor is. The rumor boils down to we're letting 4 games go on to PlayStation, essentially. There was so many rumors going around. Microsoft's only going to a handheld console next time, like Switch. They're not going to be a full-fledged console, which if that could still be true. We don't know anything about next gen. They could be making a handheld freaking console, and that's their claim to leaps and bounds of technology and stuff. I don't have a clue. But I don't know, Shane, what do you think, man? I think it was a much ado about nothing podcast and a frenzy in the water that turned out to be just a drop of blood and nothing else.
I would call it more just covering your butt podcast. There were just stupidly amount of rumors that were going out. I mean, just you couldn't keep track. It was nuts. I mean, there was some that sort of came to fruition, and most of the rest were just stupid as hell pipe dreams. Sorry, fanboys of both sides. None of that shit you wanted is happening, so suck it up. I didn't watch it, but I've read the article about it and what they talked about, and the reason I didn't watch is, one, I didn't even know it happened. And then when I found out it happened, it was just the excitement for it was like, yep. So that's how I feel about it now. So far as the greatest leap in consoles, that's, unless they put a waffle maker in it, I mean, it's the same thing that they say every generation. They said that about the Scorpio edition on the Xbox One. And it's a great system. We all loved it. It was fantastic. But, there was still, wasn't that major of a deal to me. I mean, yeah, the 4K and the game pause. I can't remember what the hell they called it. That was fantastic. So the 4 games coming to Xbox, coming to other platforms from Xbox. Yeah, Nick, you're right. Live service stuff makes sense. Fill up those servers with people. That makes sense. Minecraft is all over the place. Sea of Thieves would be a perfect example of a game that should be multi-platform, and it just benefits Microsoft with games like this. So it's just money. That's it. I think Grounded is a live service game, considering how much I do constantly drop in on it. So that's just me. The fact that Xbox laid off 1,900 people and their excuse is, how did he phrase it again? It's a part of the strategy. You end up with what happens when the industry doesn't grow. You end up with job eliminations. When you spend billions of dollars, then you have to eliminate positions. And I've said this before. Get rid of some of the chiefs, save the Indians, because that's kind of crap that gets most of these companies, pisses me off about these companies. But anywho, back to the console itself. There was really nothing that came out that excited me or worried me or anything. Game Pass not going on Sony is not a surprise. I could see it going to Nintendo before Sony, and I don't see it really going there either. But Sony and our Nintendo and Microsoft, they have a little bit of a friendship, I guess you would want to call it, or they just have the same enemy, which is Sony. So they're a little more, friendly with each other. Diablo going to Game Pass. So Pat, you're right. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Bobby Kotick is just crying in his billions of dollars right now. That bastard. He's such a piece of shit. Pardon my language. I just patted the program. So overall, I mean, I don't have a lot to add because Game Pass is a huge thing for Microsoft. I don't see that ever changing now. I think it's changed the landscape in a lot of ways for gaming, Microsoft in particular. So I don't think they're worried about next generation's console as long as they have Game Pass. Game Pass, and being able to play your game on your phone, being able to play your game on probably your TV coming soon. I think the console is just going to be another platform for Microsoft. I don't think they really worry about it too much. I don't know what the PC count is for Game Pass, but I imagine it's pretty high because, I mean, I have it, my kids have it, you guys have it, your kids have it. I think all your kids have it. So I don't know. The whole thing was lackluster. The rumors were actually kind of fun to a point, and then it just got so overwhelming. Pat was right. We couldn't have talked about them in an episode because there's too many. That would have been a 7-hour episode. So, but I think Microsoft just did the podcast to cover the butt and, kind of nullifies some of the rumors going around about them. So anyways.
Yep. I agree. I mean, I think basically it was just that, right? The podcast was really not much of anything, but it was a good way for Microsoft to, not that they couldn't have just put out like a press release and said like, now that's not happening. 4 games are going, and that's all, right? Because I mean, really, the podcast was just 4 games are coming to another console, and everything else is staying on the straight and narrow. Basically, what you expected before the rumors happened is exactly the route it's going, which is the normal route. But 4 games are coming to are going multi-platform, and that was pretty much it. But I mean, Microsoft's strategy is not to have, and it might end up being Sony's strategy at one point. I'm not sure, but it's not to have just a console, and then that's the only place you play on, right? Their strategy is to spread themselves out everywhere, which might benefit them, right? It may or may not, but maybe it's going good for them doing something like that. They're still going to have a console, right? I mean, it's just like saying like, yeah, we publish, we create games and stuff like that. You can play anywhere you'd like, but we also make a device that, is our flagship device. Then that's where you can play your games on, but you can play them anywhere you want. But this is our thing, right? This is like Apple makes a lot of stuff, but their flagship is their phones, right? Or maybe their tablets are their flagships. I'm not sure, depends on how you look at it, but I would say their phones are probably more their flagship, right? You can do the same thing you can on the tablet as you can on the phone, but they offer that. Every company offers that. They let you to do a lot of things outside of their, in a lot of their different spots or a lot of different devices. But if you want the true experience, you come to this, right? And that's what Microsoft is pretty much saying here. If you want the true experience, we're still going to make hardware, and that's where you're going to get the raw experiences straight from your Xbox device. But we're going to allow you to do it wherever you want to, whether that be a PC or through streaming, cloud aspects, or something like that, right? So again, really wasn't much of anything. So I would say it was pretty lackluster. Like you guys said, it was really, the rumors were more than everything. I mean, a lot of the rumors, besides some games going multi-platform, everything else was pretty much buckus at this point. So, and the 4 games that we talked about on here, those are just the rumored games. We don't know 100% if those are the 4 games coming to multi-platform. That's just what's been rumored, and from what we know and what we've heard, those are the 4 titles. But we'll have to wait and see when developers come out and let us know which titles are going multi-platform. So I know Sea of Thieves was talked about for quite a while going multi-platform, so I would say that's probably a shoe-in. But the other ones, I don't know, it's kind of up in the air, right, on those. But anyway, Pat, Shane left us. You got anything else to say? No? Okay. He was so upset. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to let us know in the comments below. What did you think? Did you watch the podcast? Did you listen? I mean, it was visual, but you can also just listen to it as a podcast. What did you think about it? What did you think of Microsoft's take on everything? And pretty much, like I said, the console wars aren't dead. They're going to continue going. So, how does that make you feel? Do you wish Microsoft would have just left the console market and went just publisher developer only? Or do you like the fact that they're continuing to make consoles? Me personally, I like the fact they're continuing to make consoles. We've talked about this before. Competition is great for the player. It's great for the consumer. If Sony doesn't have somebody to compete with, such as Microsoft in this case, or vice versa, then that stifles innovation, and that stifles that company from releasing a console or releasing some piece of hardware at a good, decent price, right? They can release it at whatever price they feel like. I mean, they could do that now, but they have to compete. So they're not going to release a PlayStation 6 at $1,000 or an Xbox Series Y or whatever the hell at $1,000. They're going to be competitive with their competitors, right? So that way they get your dollar at the store. So I think it's good that Microsoft is still in the game as well as with Sony, so they can compete, and it's a win-win for us as consumers. But let us know down in the comments below what you think. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Help us out. Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. And we will see you next time.